Hello, welcome in. We're getting to watch court appearance of the little one that murdered Lily Peters. Poor baby. Wait for it to start. It's already started. They're already into it, but I'm going to start it from the beginning since I didn't see it. And who can watch it with me then. Ah.
All right, everyone. Before we begin this proceeding, I wanted to just remind everyone that they issued an order on decorum for today, and there are certain rules that are in for this hearing for everyone. All participants, all spectators, all media. This is a sensitive matter, and just to remind media, there should be no photography of any of the defendant at all in this matter in any of the gallery. We have to preserve not only the juveniles' rights, but also rights of any victims that are here today as well. There shall be no outbursts in this courtroom. We need to preserve them, and so please comply with the rules that have been posted and provided to you for this hearing. Attorney Newell, would you be able to call this matter? I would ask that the parties refer to the juvenile with the initials for us to proceed and give the appearances. Thank you.
Yes, Your Honor. This is State of Wisconsin. C-P-D. Yet doesn't have a key. We'll be filing the criminal complaint as soon as I'm done, I guess, introducing the case. Wade Newell, District Attorney for Trumbull County, appearing on behalf of the state. The defendant is at JDC with his attorneys Kirby Harless and Carl Schmidt, all appearing via video.
All right, Attorney Harless, first of all, there has been a criminal complaint that has been filed or provided. Please approach. And Attorney Harless, have you been able to receive a copy of that criminal complaint and discuss charges and maximum penalties with your client?
We have, yes, Your Honor. We would wait any further reading. We would weigh evidence for a preliminary hearing, which we have discussed with our client, and we are requesting that it be set for a hearing next week. I believe there's still decisions to be made as to counsel moving forward, so I'd like to have it delayed for 1 week in order to have counsel put aside and make a decision from scheduling from there.
All right. Attorney Newell, did you have any arguments on bond for this matter?
Your Honor, the state is requesting a $1 million cash bond with the condition that he have no contact with any juveniles and not possess any dangerous weapons. The state understands the state is asking for a very high cash bond for a defendant of 14 years of age, but given the statements that the defendant made to law enforcement that his intention was to rape and kill the victim from the get-go when he left the house with the victim going down the trail, the state believes that there is a need to protect the community and also a concern regarding the defendant fleeing, given the severity of the punishment he is facing for all three of these charges. That gives him a very big incentive not to resolve the matter and to flee the area, but protection of community
I don't
also
know
is
what they're doing.
necessary in this case, given his statements once again regarding his
That's what
intentions and also
Bella
his statements
said.
regarding the fact that he did get off the
No,
phone,
she told.
punched the
Yeah,
victim in the
doesn't mean
stomach,
they're
knocked her to the ground,
Yeah, right.
essentially strangled her, hit her with a stick before strangling her to the point of death before he then sexually assaulted her. Based upon all that, the state believes that a $1 million cash bond is appropriate with the two conditions outlined.
All right, Attorney Harless or Attorney Schmidt, any objections?
Yes, Your Honor, to the cash amount. This is Attorney Schmidt. I'll be addressing the bond argument. We're asking the court to impose a $100,000 cash bond. We agree that cash is appropriate in this case. The charges are extremely serious. We do not feel that setting bond in excess of $100,000 is necessary or appropriate in this case. We do not believe that Mr. PB is a flight risk. He is 14 and an 8th grader. He cannot drive. He is not in a position to raise much money, frankly, at all on his own. He resides with his mother. He is a lifetime resident of Chippewa County. We believe that a $100,000 cash bond should be adequate to ensure that Mr. PB does not flee, that he has a realistic opportunity for some sort of pretrial release, as limited as I think that would be. I believe that in light of his age and that circumstance, that setting that bond any higher than $1,000 is far beyond what's necessary to serve the goals of bail. I think that all it would do would be essentially to index his taste at the details of these offenses. That's all then.
All right, thank you. All right. The court has considered the arguments of counsel here today. This is a serious charge, and because of serious charges, there are serious consequences, which gives a greater incentive for individuals not to want to return to court when they are facing those charges. And so I also need to consider the threats to the community. The information that was disclosed by the district attorney shows that this was a serious threat to the community, and so the court is concerned that this could be a further threat if the individual was no longer in custody. The court will order a $1 million cash bond with the conditions that the defendant not contact any juveniles and have no dangerous weapons. Attorney Harless or Attorney Schmidt, I believe, or I'm not aware of whether or not the defendant has any siblings that I could accept this from that could be supervised. I would allow that to have supervised contact between any family members that are his siblings, as long as that contact is supervised. The time limits for the preliminary hearing have been waived. However, there is a request for a hearing next week to determine whether counsel would need to be updated for the defendant. I have some dates. At this time, I would like to go off the record to go through our calendars to make sure that there would be time that works for the parties. We are off the record. Attorney Harless, I have next Thursday, May 5th. I can do a time between 3 and 4:30. And Friday, May 6th, a time between 8:30 and 10 a.m. Do any of those times work for you for the defendant?
$3:30 on Thursday sounds like it would work well.
Attorney Newell, does that work for you?
3:30 on May 5th, yes, Your Honor.
All right. We are back on the record in this matter. We have set a return hearing in this matter 3 p.m. on May 5th of 2022 to address the issues raised by counsel in this matter. I do need to comply with our constitutional amendment known as Marcy's Law as well. Are there any victims present who wish to speak in this matter?
Not to my knowledge, Your Honor. One thing is, at the same time as filing the criminal complaint, the state has also filed the victim key. I would ask that that be filed confidentially and sealed, only available to the parties.
All right. I'm going to do a few things here. Were there any issues from any victims or victim representatives regarding the schedule of next week's hearing at all? All right, hearing none. I will order that the clerk file the criminal complaint that was recently given to the clerk here at this hearing, that criminal complaint be sealed and available to the parties. If for any reason that this is released to anyone that is not a party, that the clerk redact all references to the name of the defendant. However, in the caption of the criminal complaint, the clerk shall keep the initials of the defendant only. All future filings in this case by all parties and all representatives of any party, including attorneys, shall use the defendant's initials going forward. Attorney Newell, were there any other items to address for today before we meet again next week?
When the court ordered the bond condition, made the reference to any siblings that need to be excluded, was there a response to that?
I did not hear anything. Attorney Harless, was there a sibling of the defendant that we may want to add an exemption for under the bond that he may want to visit with supervision?
Yes, there are siblings. I'm sorry, I thought the order was just being made to allow for the supervised visitation with siblings.
Any objections on that, Attorney Newell?
No, Your Honor, as long as supervised means that there's another adult in the room and that he not be alone even with his siblings at all.
I agree. I think that should be supervised through any law enforcement or any professionals through the JDC if that's where he will be retained until further order. Attorney Harless, was there anything else, or Attorney Schmidt, anything from your side that you wanted to make for the record today?
Just a clarification on scheduling. It was my understanding that we were setting this for 3:30, and then when we went back on the record, the court indicated 4 o'clock. I just want to make sure I got my calendar right.
All right. 3:30 works, Attorney Newell?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Let's set it for 3:30 then on May 5th for the next appearance in this matter. And I would ask the state to set up video for that date as well if the defendant is still remaining at the JDC.
And because that is one of the required court appearance, or I guess no, it's just a status, so it's not required. Never mind, Your Honor. I guess we did not deal with today as the defendant had the right under the statute to appear in person. We didn't, I guess, address that up front. It may be good to address that now to make sure that the defendant is okay with this hearing having been done via video and not in person.
Under recent law, Attorney Harless and Attorney Schmidt, all proceedings and criminal proceedings are able to be conducted by video, including this one today. Was the defendant agreeable to having this matter conducted by video with him appearing from the JDC with counsel present with him rather than here in the courtroom?
Yes, he had no objections to that. He was fine with it being that way.
All right, then I will find that the defendant made a knowing, voluntary, and intelligent waiver of his right to be present for today for us to continue the hearing here today. Anything else today, Attorney Newell?
No, thank you, Your Honor.
Attorney Harless or Attorney Schmidt, anything else?
No, thank you, Your Honor.
All right, I will ask the clerk's office to prepare the bond and send that down to the JDC for it to be signed, and then we will see everyone next week at 3:30. All right, thank you all. I'm going to hang up.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right. At this time, to everyone who is present, please be orderly as you exit the courtroom. Room 226 has been set up for any further interviews or press interactions with any parties. So I would ask that the press please exit the courtroom at that time for those purposes. Thank you all. We're adjourned.
All right. All right, y'all. So they are wanting to charge him as an adult, but they've got to put him through some evaluations, I'm guessing, before they can, to make sure he'll be competent to stand in as an adult. It depends on how old he is. They still haven't told us his age. So it's dependent on his age whether or not he could be competent to stand an adult trial. So that's what all this was about, and for the bond hearing, which they set pretty damn high. I don't know if most of you were in here when they said how much it was. I wanted to say they said 100,000, but I'm not sure. Yeah, but he's not allowed to be around no other kids, regardless of age. His siblings he can be around, but it has to be some kind of law official, police official. Yeah, 1 million. Yeah, here in North Carolina, he would most likely, for the nature of the charge, he would be charged as an adult as well. But they do, yeah, I think that's what it is too. But because of the nature of the charge, they've got to give him evaluations before they can say, okay, yeah, we're going to charge him as an adult. Because, depending on his age, like if he's under the age of, I would say under the age of 12, then he probably, he knows what he did, but he doesn't understand the extent of what's going to happen to him. So let's see what the prosecutor's got to say. This is going to be his news conference.
Paul. And B is involved. Boy.
And wait, is this charge in adult court or juvenile?
In Wisconsin, first degree intentional homicide, which is the first count in the criminal complaint, by law starts originally in adult court. So it's not a juvenile that brought into juvenile case brought into adult court. While he's still a juvenile, it's an adult court case.
You tell us the other charges and what the plan is.
Yeah, under supervision.
Keeping it in adult court?
So the three charges he has is first degree intentional homicide.
Not without
Second
a
count is
supervision.
First degree sexual assault. The third count is first degree sexual assault to a child under age 13, resulting in
Oh my God! Did they just say sexual assault?
Regarding keeping it in adult court,
Hold on.
I think it's premature to.
Whoa! I think they just said sexual assault.
C at
P
as in
I guess
Paul,
and
B
as in
as in boy.
And wait, is this charge in adult court or juvenile court?
In
In
Wisconsin,
Wisconsin,
first
first-degree intentional homicide, which is the first count
in the criminal
complaint,
by
law
starts
originally in
adult
adult
court.
court, so it
it's not a juvenile
that
that
brought in a
juvenile case brought into adult court. While he's still a juvenile,
it's an adult court
Can
case.
you tell us the other charges and what your plan is for this case as far as keeping it in adult court?
So
the three charges he has
is first
is
degree
first-degree
intentional
intentional
homicide.
homicide.
Second
count
is
is
first-degree
first-degree
sexual assault.
assault.
The
The
third
third count is first-degree sexual
with
Hello,
assault
Dragon.
under
age
age 13 resulting in
bodily
great bodily harm.
Regarding
keeping it in adult court,
I think
it's premature to make any determinations regarding that at this time. I think it's a very serious case that needs to be dealt with as is intended by the law.
How was this case solved?
That I
That I cannot get into.
Could you explain the differences between the second and third counts that you said?
Sure.
So
the
in Wisconsin, so it's first degree sexual assault. That means regardless of the victim's age, it's an assault.
Then
Then in Wisconsin, we have a separate section that deals with sexual assaults involving children.
So
that's the differences.
The first
The
charge
first charge
Yeah,
applies
I'll
to
do that
the
three.
victim of any sexual assault. Count number two would only apply if the victim was of a certain age.
Is this filed publicly then, or is it technically not filed publicly?
So it's
So
filed
it's filed
publicly.
publicly, so when I handed the paper copy of the criminal complaint to the clerk,
that was
that was my process of filing it. As you probably heard from the judge, what the public will have access to is limited by his court order.
Which means?
I'm not
going to answer as to what his court order means.
Mr. Veteran, the next hearing next week is to determine his counsel, is that correct? And when is the initial appearance for this?
So
technically today was the initial appearance. Charges were filed. The next step would be preliminary hearing. He waived the time limits for that, so next week is just a status to see if there is new counsel on board.
But
Talk about what this has meant for your office in this community. This is some very quick police work, very quick work by your prosecutor. Tell me about all the people that went into this for this moment.
Chief
Kelm would probably be a better person regarding that, of knowing everyone that was involved. I know we gave a press release yesterday.
Thanking
everyone
who
who
was
was
involved. I am
involved.
aware of the Chippewa Falls Police Department being involved. The Chippewa County Sheriff's Department being involved. The Clare Police Department being involved. Division of Criminal Investigation for the Attorney General's Office for the state of Wisconsin being involved. The Crime Lab being involved.
We can't, it's all
as well
sealed.
as, a bunch of other jurisdictions as well. But I will forget the names.
What he's telling us is
There's a lot of
basically
people
what we know, we're allowed to know.
following leads, doing great police work to determine what decisions would be made regarding further investigation and going forward with investigation in this matter. I know that the community was very concerned to begin with because without
No, the judge
knowledge
sealed
as to
a
who
lot
the
of shit in this
offender is,
case. There's
that is a
nothing
very,
public. He was talking about the
concerning
public
matter for the
helping
community.
search for
I have
her.
a 17-year-old daughter myself, and I know that the school, because she plays soccer, the school mentioned that the coaches would make sure that there weren't any, as much as possible, any kids going alone or anything like that. So that's a very terrifying thing for parents to have to deal with, is to worry about, can my child be the next victim of a crime until you find out who you believe the perpetrator to be. That is very concerning, and I appreciate all the hard work the law enforcement did to at least bring it to this point in time. It's not over now, but bring it to this point in time so the community can at least know regarding this matter that they're safe because the defendant's in custody.
Mr. Ehrlich, that's some awful cases involving children in your county. And now this. What is this like for you going through?
It's difficult because it's just knowing how it
There's
impacts
two sexual assault
other people.
charges. First degree as an adult, and then they have a second one
I
for
guess,
child under a
my
certain
empathy is
age.
more with others than myself. It's just the nature of why I got into this and the work I do. My specialty, other than being the high-profile cases like this, is sexual assault cases. In general, those are very hard cases. They're very time-consuming, very emotionally draining. But I guess the way I look at it is, and it goes back to my daughter, is I try and be the prosecutor I would want if something happened to my daughter. And so that's the way I look at things, and not try to get too emotionally impacted on it, but just be professional and do what is necessary to have justice done.
You alleged in court that this was intentional. And you said that the suspect left that home with the intention to do, and you listed some of the acts here. And did you say that there was he confessed to that point? Did you just speak to what you said?
So when I said yes, the statements that I made in court were, I think if I didn't clarify it, was statements from the defendant himself to law enforcement. So the information I relayed was based upon the statements the defendant himself made to law enforcement.
So those are contained in your complaint then?
Correct.
The allegations outlined that you said there. And then could you speak to, again, what you spoke of in there, of the actions, the intentions, and then the actions that occurred?
Restate it?
Yeah.
Because the thing is, right now the judge has sealed the criminal complaint, so I can't just read from the criminal complaint. And unfortunately, I don't have a good enough memory to.
That's what I said, or
did not say so.
You said he left the home down the path with the intention of rape and kill?
Yes, I
do remember saying that.
And then he punched her, knocked her down, hit her with a stick, strangled her?
I
believe I mentioned all of those things as well.
How does that information change your prosecution? That timeline and those specific.
So obviously you don't have the criminal complaint in front of you like you may in other cases. All three of the charges require that the defendant intended to do something. So like first degree intentional homicide, it's with intent to kill a person. So that you have to. That's different than like reckless or some other version of homicide that you into the situation.
You would come up with some shit like that
to kill the person. And obviously, sexual assault is you have to intend to do those sexual acts. I don't know how they would ever be accidental, but that's the law requires that they be intentional.
Based on his statement to investigators.
Yes. In part.
What are the penalties for this?
How's the defendant related to
That I cannot get into at this time.
They leave you mentioned in court they left the home together to go down that path.
Yes, I believe that's what
I believe that's what I said.
What are the penalties for this in adult court, and how does that change if you move it to juvenile court?
Just to be clear, it's in adult court now. So the punishment for count number one, it's a Class A felony. Upon conviction, shall be sentenced to life imprisonment for life. Count number two is a Class B felony. Punishment not to exceed 60 years.
Count number
three, which is the
sexual assault of a child charge,
is
also
a Class A felony. Upon conviction, shall be sentenced to imprisonment for life.
Not less than life. Is it mandatory life?
No, not
up to life.
Up to life.
Okay, and then if you move it to juvenile, how does that change?
There are
no sentences in juvenile court.
People are
adjudicated delinquent and get court orders, but they're never sentenced. I can't say he'd be sentenced to something in juvenile court because of that.
And they better charge him as an adult. He took an act as an adult. He needs to be charged as one.
So there is a
process by which the defendant could petition for. We refer to it as reverse waiver. Bring it back into
juvenile court,
the
statutes and obviously there's statutes involving that, and the burden is upon the defendant to make the showings under the statute that it should be back in juvenile court.
I would guess you would oppose that.
I'd have to wait till I would.
I
don't do anything just reactionary to anything. Everything I do is based upon the totality of the circumstances as I know them, and I would never want to prejudge anything until all the facts were presented to me.
Have you seen any mitigating factors in this at all?
I can't get into the facts of the case.
Will anyone else be charged in this case, like charged for obstruction or anything?
You would have to talk to law enforcement in regards to that, and my guess is if they're looking at investigating other individuals regarding, say, obstruction, that they probably wouldn't let anyone know that until the investigation was done.
And Wade, just to clarify, that Class B, you said 60, that's 40 years incarceration, 20 years extended, right?
That's the total sentence, but yeah, because
Right.
yeah.
I just wanted to clarify the way we say.
Yeah, truth in sentencing states, so all of our sentences are broken down to periods of initial confinement and periods of extended supervision. So all those sentences are broken down that way. Obviously, other than if you get a life sentence, then it's life with the possibility of extended supervision at some point in time.
Can you speak to when you believe this intent was formed?
Once again, that would be getting into the facts of the case, which I cannot do.
Can you explain the bail situation? They wanted $100,000 because of his age. You went with $1 million and got that. Why did you want it to be so high? And
Given the, I guess I'll just reiterate what I said. While his age was a concern for me, his intentions and what he said his intentions were and how he carried out his intentions in the statements that I made in court are why I thought it was, I guess in my mind, an aggravated situation that called for protection of the community up at that degree, and the concern that given the penalties he was facing, that he would decide to leave the area. So even though he may not have a driver's license given his age, everyone in this world has access to someone who can help them to be somewhere else.
In your career, have you ever seen somebody so young do something so gruesome?
Yes. I mean, some of you may have been there. We had the individual, I think she was 10 or 11 years old, involving, and this was almost exactly right around the time of the vehicular homicide situation involving the Girl Scouts. So,
is there one thing you could point to that helped break open this case for you? Was it a tip from the community? Was it detectives pounding the pavement?
yeah. And I feel bad because I want to answer your questions, because a lot of them I can. I mean, in my mind, I know the answers to it, but once again, that gets into the facts of the investigation, which I can't get into.
Where was the defendant seated today during the hearing?
The Eau Claire, say the full name of it, the Eau Claire Juvenile Detention Center?
Secured. We just refer to it as, so it's JDC, so it must be Juvenile Detention Center. That'd be my.
Who are the attorneys sitting to his left?
Carl Schmidt.
So then it would be juvenile defendant/defendant. Then it would be Kirby Harless, and then Carl Schmidt.
And why the decision to have them appear on video versus in person?
That decision was made by the court, not myself.
And you know the family a little better than us. There was no family that you saw in the courtroom, right?
I personally have not met the family myself, so I wouldn't know how they are. I can tell you that over the course of the last couple of days have been in ongoing contact with law enforcement, dealing with various things, dealing with search warrants. So I haven't been directly in contact with the victim's family. I know that Sherry Dockel, the victim witness coordinator in my office, has been, as well as the victim advocates from the Wisconsin Department of Justice.
Do you know why the exception was made for the siblings? Was there anything to that? Or was that...
I'm not going to speak to the mindset of the judge regarding making orders.
Oh, I mean, why was it requested, I guess, in the first place?
Regarding the siblings, I don't think it was requested. I think the judge just brought it up himself.
Oh, okay.
Could be wrong about that, but that's my understanding.
So are the search warrants still sealed as well? The criminal complaint currently is sealed?
I know that that we have done orders to seal search warrants that have been done. I don't know if the court has signed those orders to seal, because the order to seal is presented by a law enforcement, not by me. But I know that orders to seal exist, or that motions to seal exist.
And then last, I guess, what's next? I mean, we have this fellow court appearance. What's the timeline of the legal process from here?
I guess it's more in the hands of the defense to make their determination want to proceed regarding keep it in an adult court or not.
Mm-hmm. What happens at the next hearing then in May?
Just for them to advise.
Well, don't clean too hard. I don't want you to hurt yourself.
I guess just current attorneys or new attorneys to advise what the next step will be. I don't want to speak to the mindset of a defense attorney.
Thank you. Yep. Can I get his first and last name and spelling?
Sure. Wade, W-A-D-E. Newell is N-E-W-E-L-L.
Let's see if there's any more to it. I think that was the end of it. Yeah. So as of right now, he's being charged as an adult. We'll see if that sticks. Welcome back, Maisie love. So yeah, besides what's going on with Lily, damn, none of my C's worked in my title. It looks retarded. But you like what guy? The prosecutor? I bet you that judge didn't have them big old glasses on his face. He'd be cute. Yeah, he is. He is really good. He seems like he's going to be fair, and he's not one of the ones that, just because of the charge, he's willing to throw him in jail. It seems like he really wants to try to get him some kind of help. Because if he's charged as a juvenile, there's like really no repercussions. Because like you said, there's no sentencing. So, I mean, he needs to be charged. I think he needs to be charged. And I think he needs to get some help. Like some really, 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 really. Yeah. I mean, if they would have asked different questions, I bet you could have answered more. But the way they were asking the questions, they were bound to be like, no, I can't answer that, or I won't answer that. You got to search for the right questions. I don't know. That poor little girl, her family, I feel so bad. But she was only 10 years old, wasn't she? Sorry, I've been arguing with my sister's son. All right, so yes, 10. Yes, Juby. Whoa, you guys are going too fast for me now. It's all the same. Yes, Juby, they can get out by 21. Yeah, but after 21, they can be charged as an adult, though. Just remember that. Or 24, maybe. Because different states let you out at different ages. I know North Carolina, it's 24. If they can stay up in juvie up until they're 24 years of age, depending on the crime, and then get switched over to adult. Yeah, see, at the age of 18. Yeah, it is sad for her. I feel bad for her family. Like, I feel bad for anybody's family that has to endure shit like this. It's crazy. Like, I don't, I don't understand what goes through kids' minds. I really don't. Like, they've got to learn it from somewhere. And I hate saying that it's through the parents, but where's the morals of these children? Like, what do you instill in your child for them to do stuff like this? I don't know. Maybe it's just me. You guys know me. I'm an overthinker. I don't know. Okay, so the original thing I wanted to come on for today, and then I saw the Lily Peters thing being broadcast on the news. So I was like, oh, let's go ahead and cover that. I don't know how many other people have done it. I know so far I've only seen me do it. So that's not saying much. But I wanted to talk about why age 5? What does the number 5 have to do with it? Because if you notice lately, in the last couple of years, most of the kids that have gone missing have been around the age 5. So why? What's up with the age? Is there a meaning behind it? Is there any special reason why the kids are about the age of 5? If they're not at 5, they're just about to be 5, or they just turned a different number. But most of the ages have been 5 when they went missing. 5 years old. What's up with the age 5, y'all? I know I've said this in my lives in the beginning when I first started my channel, but I was watching Michelle, was it After Dark earlier? I watch her morning one every morning, and she even said it. But I've been saying it for months, and now she just came out with it. So I figured, hey, why not see what everybody else thinks? And not for that, you got a couple that had brown hair, brown eyes, but the majority of them are blonde hair, blue eyes. It's just something to make you guys think. Use that brain a little bit. But it's weird. It is very weird. most parents do a good job with their kids. Yeah, and I understand that, but you got to think it's about who you let your kids be around and what kind of. I mean, even if you raise your kids in the best of homes, the environment might not be all that well. It could be. It could be. At the age 5, it's a weird age because like before 5, you say they're kidnapped. After say 12 or 13, you say they run away. So in between 4 or in between the age 4 and what 11, what do you say? What happened to them? Because they're old enough to wander off by then. And me and Maisie were talking about that earlier. Um, we were talking about, she was telling me some stories about when her kids would wander off at young ages. And I told her about when my daughter disappeared at 2 and 3. And so, I mean, and I'm not saying none of us are bad parents. I'm not saying anybody's a bad parent. Like everybody has their own parenting skills. Everybody does their own thing with their children. Everybody, people like to raise their kid in their own aspects. So you can't say one person's right and the other one's wrong just I have a bad thing for that because like with my niece, the one that was staying with me, her mom allows her to do pretty much what she wants because she trusts her. She's 11 years old, and most people think she's about 15 because of the way she carries herself. She had to grow up way too fast, and not for nothing else. She babysits her mom and dad because they drink and then they like to get into their little arguments or whatever. So she basically had to raise herself. And I think it's just crazy. I mean, I say it all the time to her mother. Like, she's too young for you just to be like, oh, yeah, she could go ahead and do that. No, she's 11 years old. I was like, I do true crime. And most of the cases I do involve little children. Why would you allow her to take the chance of getting gone like that? Like at 11 years old, she stays up till, I don't know, like Saturday she was up until almost 3 o'clock in the morning playing on her phone. The other night she was up until after 12 because I went to bed at 12. So I know she was up until at least after 12 playing on her phone, and she had school the next day. And I was like, don't you think you need to go? And her mom's sleeping right next to her. And I was like, don't you think you need to put your phone down and go to sleep? You do have school in the morning. And she's like, oh, mom lets me do it. And I wanted to say so bad, well, you're not in your mom's house. I have rules. But I didn't want to make anybody mad, so I just kept it to myself. She scared the hell out of me.
No, I had to come back.
And it just really irks me because of the way it goes on, There's the one I lost. Okay, I thought it shut off. It was shut off, Dan. Did it start back up when I closed it? Because I opened.
Start up because you have to hit the button every time.
No, you don't. If you catch it just right.
And you open it up and close it, it cuts off.
No, it does not.
Come here, I'll show you.
Hold on, y'all. Listen, Mr. Argumentative. All right, I'm here. Yeah, if they don't have guidelines or rules, then they're just going to run rapid. Some may not act up, but some may just go crazy.
Won't be fast.
Well, then don't smoke my cigarette. That's all I have.
No, I'm gonna get you some cigarettes on the way home. I ain't gonna be home. I only got a bottom half of a wall.
Oh, okay.
The bottom half on each side, the corners, it ain't like 4 foot on each side. 3 foot by 4 foot. Then I might go ahead and try to put a little bit of paint on the crown. I was mainly trying to wait till this evening to see if that fan come on for an attic fan. You know what I'm saying? So I can get that damn heat out of the attic. I told her she might need to cut in the goddamn lid fan up in that bitch, man. It's 120 goddamn degrees up there. I love you.
Love you.
Ava, give me some sugars. Thank you, girl. No, not get down sugars. Where's your keys?
One behind me. I don't know where the other one is. The other one's in here. I didn't see one in a minute.
She in there? Are he in there, man?
He's hiding somewhere. He wasn't there. Trixie! Oh, they were both in the curtain.
Oh, okay. Man, I'm scared from that. I'm like, where did that old son of a gun?
You don't know what you No, I'm saying no more here.
No, I'm gonna go get that paint and shit the other day, and tomorrow I'm gonna pull that camper out, the RV, pull it down the hill, and go get a battery for it, and make sure the tires are pumped up on it.
Oh, yeah.
We need to pull that RV in, go inside the RV, and look inside of it, and see what we gotta do, and what we think we gotta do.
You gotta,
If I need to seal the roof, I'll seal it.
that weekend that we go, it's gonna be, no, it's not gonna be in 2 weeks, because I think 2 weeks is gonna be, Mother's Day. I'll tell you.
That will be a good thing to go do down there, for your mom to go do, ain't it, to see when your dad died?
No, my dad died in March. March. Him and Kim both died in March. There it is. Okay, so this weekend would be the 30th, 30th and the 1st. And the following weekend is Mother's Day weekend.
Not this weekend, next weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The following
Okay, I don't
weekend.
give a fuck. We can go during the week, nigga. It don't matter. We ain't got to go on the weekend. We go Monday through Wednesday.
Okay.
It don't even matter. You know what I'm saying? I just want to go.
No, because the
get
kids are
ready.
in school, so Mom won't go.
Okay, I'm just saying it could be during the week.
But they have court.
I think Paulette, when I was pulling
Well,
out, coming down.
Not
we got
this Friday. Next Friday. We'll find out. The weekend that we're going camping.
I was wondering why I didn't even think about that. I was thinking that I was like, what? Because I see Paulette walking from the school.
She went to the doctor today.
Huh?
She had a doctor's appointment today, remember?
Oh, Nina, yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. I didn't think about that, though, when I didn't see her. I was like...
In March? Wow. That's kind of weird.
All right, I'll be back. Okay.
That's kind of weird. Y'all have who was Canada, like their I want to say their Thanksgiving is like in October. Is she? I'm not much of a tarot person. I used to try. I used to read tarot cards actually before my daughter was born. I don't remember how to do it now. Come here, Prixie. Get away from the door. All right, baby. Thank you for coming in. We appreciate it. But yeah, I'm just stuck on why, like, all these kids are going missing at the age of 5. And I guess it would depend on what they're, if they're abducted and what the reason why they were abducted, or I mean, if they went missing on their own accord, like where were they going? Where were they trying to go? Did they get lost? Did the wildlife get to them? Did somebody pick them up? And if somebody picked them up, why didn't they try to find their home or take them to somewhere, they can find their way home? I don't know. Yes, Blue Eyes, I hope you feel better, sweetheart. I wonder if we Google that, what it would say. Let's try. Let's try to Google it. Bring it back to the same thing. Same shit. There we go. Oh, ain't that some shit? It brings up my live. Yep, it brought up my live. That's bitch. All right, let's get out of there. I thought it was going to be a. Ain't that some shit? It brings up my live. That has nothing to do with missing in 2016. And they Oh, son of a bitch. Alright, I'm not finding anything on that. But anyway, ladies, what's on your minds? Who's still here? Everybody leave me? I think I got left. Ooh, that can't be good. Oh, Maisie's still here. Look, my cat got to put holes in my blankets. Oh, sheds. He's like, no, ma'am, stay. What'd you get down for, crazy? What'd you get down for? So, Maisie, let me tell you what I did. I went to my Broccoli Man's last night and picked up my stuff. And he still had some of the fruit left over from the 420 party. Now, it was in the liquor, but I told you I didn't like liquor. I like the fruit itself. So he's like, well, take what you want. So I'm sitting there trying to scoop out the oranges and the grapes and the pineapple. And he's like, why aren't you taking the watermelon and the cantaloupe? I said, because they're bad. I said, they taste straight like vodka. I don't like vodka. I was like, I don't mind it mixed, but I don't like vodka. I've been wanting these oranges. Good. They're as good as I thought they were going to be. Yeah, dork. That's not for you. Wrong end. Pineapple tastes good. I'm glad I'm not a drinker, though. I'm glad. Woo! Just that little bit right there got my belly burning. No, don't be jealous. That has alcohol and the THC in it. If it was just THC, I'd be good. I'd be like, here, I'll ship you some, but I'm not gonna ship you no alcohol in it. I know. I'm sorry. See, that's why I said you could have just, since it was in and out, you could have stopped the night before. As long as you weren't, intoxicated when you went up there for your operation. But I'll tell you what, I bought my niece's mom bought these things called Wayman Simple Fruit, and it's blueberries, wild blueberries, strawberries, and banana bites. So good, and they're frozen. I like them. Yeah, without the alcohol. I wish this frozen fruit right here would have the THC in it. You know, I never did get to finish reading up on that Kate Bushel. And I never got to finish watching Michelle after Michelle Walks. I got one for us to watch. Hello, Just Al. How are you? It is good. It really is. And I didn't know I was going to like frozen fruit, but this fruit is really good. Have you ever heard of what is it called? The cruise ship murder? Yeah, it is. From what I've read already, yeah, it is. Oh, we're good. We're just going over different things. We got through with the Lily Peters, the first hearing with the suspect, and then we talked about why most of the kids in the last couple of years were like 5 years old when they went missing. And now we're just talking about different cases. Yeah, that. Hey, Hilton, look up on that Kate Bushnell. That is a case for you to get into. No, Maisie, I was watching Nancy Grace earlier, and she was doing one of her things on the cruise ship murder. This guy and woman took like a $10,000 cruise or honeymoon. I think they went to Italy first, and then from Italy they got on the cruise ship. And I think it was like maybe a week into the cruise, and the husband got murdered. But It's another case without the body. And I don't even know if they got any suspects. I never finished watching it. We can watch it if you want. Uh-huh. And what was weird about it is I was just telling Maisie that, I don't usually talk about too many out of the country because it's kind of hard to get information from different countries on people. And no sooner did I start saying that, Maisie brought up this story right here. She's like, well, in not so many words, she's basically telling me, we're going to go over this one. Yeah. And I believe you're the only one from the UK in my chats. So you would be the only one I could get, dig up information. But I know that case is a little too close to you. All right. I'm going to find something on her real quick.
A van driver and a man seen running from the area. The next 10 minutes could be crucial to the inquiry. Unless a viewer can help now, the killer might not be caught until he strikes again.
From the moment that anything awful might happen, your mind fears the worst and prepares itself for the worst. And shock sets in so that you don't feel any granted from that moment onwards. In fact, you're just completely taken out of the world.
They probably couldn't find them.
Exwick is on the eastern edge of Exeter, and people tend to know each other.
So when
last summer a vagrant appeared, a local resident took notice. So did his dog.
As I was walking up the lane and going around to the first bend, this character was coming towards me. He had a long cheeky brown coat, big collar, which was very tight to his neck, and he had long, straggly hair. You had that impression that he'd been living rough and sleeping rough, you know.
The vagrant was seen around the area several times by the same witness.
On
one occasion,
Vagrant came out from behind the tree, crossed the lane, over the gateway. It was scary.
This was half a mile from Kate's home, on a route she used to walk. It was Wednesday the 12th of November, 3 days before her murder.
Saturday morning. She got a tow from when the Virgin Mega store had opened. She bought a CD for herself. She bought a book on The Simpsons, The Tim.
CD. Oh, Lighthouse Family. Who? No, how the Lighthouse Family.
She could be very adult-like at times. She could also be a very frustrating teenager to me, not to anyone else. She was a fun-loving child, good company. I've lost a very good friend in her.
Damn, Mama, look at them glasses.
Just her cheerful presence around the house.
What did you get me? You get me anything. It's my birthday. No, later.
Hey, do you want some lunch? No, thanks, I'm fine.
Reading paper.
Fine, switch it on.
Very conscientious with the schoolwork. And that's when I went up at 4:30, she was doing it.
4:30, time to take Gemma for a walk.
Gemma was the next-door neighbour's dog, and Kate had agreed to walk her while the family were away for the weekend.
My last impression of her alive was just that she came into the living room, picked up Stuart and Alison's key, and went out. And I thought nothing of it. I just thought, oh, Stuart and Alison are away this weekend, so she must be walking the dog.
Her father and his children were out stretching their legs at the same time.
That Saturday, the weather did ease off a bit, and we thought it was an ideal opportunity to take the children out. We went down to the blackberry bushes, and of course the children was thinking that there may be some blackberries there, and of course there obviously wasn't. So we just carried along at a leisurely pace. The point that we actually stopped was at the gate. I looked at my watch, and it was 5 to 5. I noticed this young girl, aged between 13 and 14. The thing that was noticeable was that she had white stripes on tracksuit bottoms, and obviously she was walking a dog.
Well, actually, when we turn around the lane, it goes into a little bend.
We'll only stay for a little while, just for a cup of tea. She'll be looking forward to seeing us.
And we saw the dog, so my mum slowed right down. And the angle which the girl was stood was facing me, and she was looking right at us, which we thought was unusual. She looked quite confident, and then we drove on, and on the right-hand side there was a van. And there's a chap stood by the van, and he had his back to us.
I haven't seen him before.
I thought, wait a minute, what is he doing there? When we heard of the murder, We felt very guilty. We had a guilt complex about it, as if we could have gone back and helped her some way.
When I'd finished the ironing and got dinner ready, I was beginning to think she ought to be home.
It's 6 o'clock.
She's not back?
No.
Right, I'll get the car keys, we'll drive up there.
She was such a reliable child. I knew how much it worried us. I suppose at that time I was more thinking I'd had an accident, but I knew there was more than that.
We're just going off the lane, and then we go back down through the estate. We can't drive up there.
I can remember driving along and having the windows open just in case we could hear her as we went past.
If she's not at her friend's, then we'll call the police.
For some reason, I just began to
Right.
get this sort of gut feeling of panic or dread inside. I knew there was nothing more to do. Suzanne, having already spoken to the police, and I'd seen them fairly briefly at the house, they'd got all the details they needed. And to me, the important thing was to go looking, because if she was injured or in pain in any way, the best thing was to get help as quickly as possible. I could hear nothing. As I was coming back onto the footpath route, I could see Gemma's eyes.
Gemma? Come here, girl. Come here, girl. Come on, Gemma. Come here, girl.
The next thing I knew, before I'd actually caught up with Gemma, I was at the top corner of the field where Kate's body was, and there was her body just to the right of me.
About an hour later, and half a mile away, with a police helicopter overhead.
I stepped out from the house and I looked up to see the helicopter above me. And then I heard footsteps running from the footpath beyond the house. I saw this chap running from the back.
It could be quite unconnected, but who is he? Mike Stevens, this was tragedy enough, but I think you're concerned this could just be the start.
I think all the officers on the inquiry are really concerned that this may happen again.
What we can do at least is eliminate as many clues as possible. Let's take this vagrant first, who was seen so often up to the time of the murder. What do you know about him?
Well, we know he was there at least 2 months prior to the murder and went missing thereafter. He's certainly described as a man 5'10", 6 feet tall, 30 to 40 years of age.
He's the one on the left here, in the big coat.
That's right. Now, the big coat, you seem to be always wearing that coat, even when it's very hot.
5'10" to 6 foot, always in the coat, stocky, late 30s. Now, the next clue is that blue van, which you need to eliminate around the time of the murder.
The blue van was seen there by the last people to see Kate alive. We know it was facing out of the lane towards Whitstone. About a quarter of an hour earlier, 2 other witnesses had driven down the lane and seen a blue Fiesta parking in the opposite direction. Now, we want to know if, in fact, it was the same vehicle, or, in fact, there was a Fiesta there, or a blue van there as well.
Saturday, the 15th of November, that would have been about 4:45. And I think there's one issue which I actually haven't made public yet, but again, it's a matter of elimination. You found a series of dens where children may have hidden, or grown-ups may have used around that area. You need to eliminate people who've used those. Tell us why.
Well, we found in the area of the murder itself a black bin liner. Now, in the bin liner there were some personal items, and from the bin liner we've had some fingerprints. We need to eliminate that bin liner and the bag itself.
And you want to make an appeal, a final appeal, or at least another appeal to the local community?
That's right. We've obviously had a lot of media coverage on this, but someone out there really does know about the individual concerned, and really we need that individual to come forward with that vital piece of evidence.
Whatever you know, please let us know now. 0500 600 600, or you can call other members of the murder team who are in Exeter tonight, waiting now. The number there, 01392 451 659. That's 01392 451 659.
This is a special Crime Watch, not with new appeals, but deliberately old ones, still unsolved. But with your help, the clues, we could unravel them tonight. It may seem a long shot, going back years, in some cases several years, but these are all such serious matters that the files on them will never close until these crimes are cracked.
3 years ago, in fact almost exactly 3 years ago, on Sunday, October the 8th, 1995, a woman was raped in a public park just outside Blackburn in Lancashire. As you'll see, it's not a case to give up on. The attacker had probably done it before, and he might well be a danger still.
Great, I'm just going to have a look at this room. It smells really nice.
Because I'd just finished university, I was quite happy that I had done that, you know, got all my finals out of the way. I had a lot of free time on my hands at that point, and I was just enjoying like every minute of it.
Round here in Burnley as well, I've got one there, so...
So if you got one, you could be still living at home then?
Yeah. No,
That's smashing.
See you later!
Normally, when I take the dog for a walk, it's just quick walk along the field.
Can you guys hear it?
Because of the weather.
Is it too low for you guys?
Do one of the circular walks there. I saw a scooter just parked near the entrance of the car park with a man standing near to it. I noticed the man because he was just sort of standing there, looking into the woods, sort of doing nothing. The scooter had a sort of big black box on it, and so it made it a different shape to the other scooters which I've seen like round and about, not a slim line. I love it up there. It is really, really pretty. I've only done the long walk only a couple of times. It's not the usual walk which I do. It was such a nice day. I think everybody had the same idea. And there was a lot of people around, and so you chatted to them and said hello.
Amber! Amber! We're here.
Does she go near any sheep?
No, I've got rid of it.
She's really muddy, look.
Yeah, let's get right.
Come on then.
The walk usually lasts about half an hour, 3/4 of an hour, and I was enjoying it.
Just after we passed the girl, we saw this man jogging towards us. About 5-10 yards before he got to us, he suddenly crouched down, holding his side.
I didn't think he was a jogger because as he was facing uphill, I would have thought he would have had sweat on his face, but he was not sweating, and he was also crouched over as if he had a stitch. I'd expect somebody who is a jogger to know that you shouldn't bend over when you have a stitch.
He was about 5'9", 5'10", in his 30s. He had light brown hair, waved to one side. He had quite a round face, but he wasn't fat. It was in the middle of October, and he had quite dark skin, and his eyebrows were well plucked. It looked like he was wearing makeup almost.
Time.
Yeah.
Scream, I'll let you.
I couldn't breathe at that point. I couldn't scream or anything. And when he said he had a knife, that's when it just hit me. that something could happen, and nobody knew where I was. It was just such a shock, and it happened so fast that I blanked myself out. So whatever happened, I was sort of protected in this bubble. During the attack, he tried my bra on and said that he was having hormonal treatment for breast enlargement, and at home he was to wear his wife's underwear. The attack lasted about an hour, and throughout I didn't fight back or scream, because he said that if I did, then he'd hurt me. He had a large key ring, shape of a light bulb, with a lot of keys.
Remember, give me 10 minutes. We're watching you.
His voice was quite low and deep, and his accent was ignore. He did have a beer belly and quite a flat chest. He was wearing a navy blue tracksuit top with pale blue tracksuit bottoms. Under the top, he was wearing a sort of cerise pink t-shirt. And also his trainers hadn't got laces, but they had the Velcro flat. He said to me that he'd done this 6 months previously, and that he should have bought his video recorder like he'd done before. It was just so horrific, the worst experience of my life. Looking back, I think I'm probably escaped my life. And I just want to caught him, so he doesn't do it again and doesn't ruin somebody else's life.
A truly appalling attack, one which investigating officers have described as the most horrific they've ever had to deal with. But it didn't end there. 4 days after the attack, a letter posted in West Yorkshire was sent to Blackburn CID. The envelope was handwritten, but the letter was made up of newspaper clippings stuck to a black bin liner, and police are almost certain that that is from the offender. Within 2 weeks, another was sent. Both letters would have taken time to construct. And the following month, a handwritten letter arrived, although the writing is disguised. Someone watching tonight may know whose work this is. Well, Neil Smith, how confident are you that those letters are from the offender?
Well, I'm fairly confident the first letter's from the offender. It contains information that only the attacker can know about.
This is it, isn't it? I mean, it's not small.
No, the significance is that it would have taken quite some time to construct. May well be that the person the attacker lives with may have witnessed that, an associate may have witnessed it in actually preparing that. The actual postmarks are also fairly significant. West Yorkshire, Stoke-on-Trent and the West Midlands. I believe the attacker has connections with Blackburn, or maybe from Blackburn, but may have visited these places and been able to visit these places, but that may also have been done to deliberately mislead us.
Now the rapist told the victim that he was having hormone treatment for breast enlargement. He wore his wife's underwear. If that's true, then someone would know who that man is.
Yeah, I think it's a really bizarre thing to say. He spent a lot of time with the victim and said a lot of things to her. He talked about having hormone treatment for breast enlargement, also about wearing his wife's underwear. Really strange things to say. I think the things that may give people clues as to his identity. Equally, it may have been said deliberately to mislead, but even so, pretty significant.
But it could be fantasy, as you say, either way, someone would know about his thoughts or proclivities if that's what he wanted.
That's right, he might have said these things to partners or associates.
Now, he had claimed as well that he'd offended before in the same area.
That's right, yes, but we've no reports of any attacks. It's really important that if anybody has been subject to any sort of sexual attack, that they contact us. They may just have that bit of information we need to make sure that this person's arrested.
Now let's look at other items that you'd like eliminated, certainly want information on. That's that red scooter that was seen in the car park where the victim parked her car.
Yeah, it's really important we eliminate this person. He's always been significant in the inquiry. It may well be that we've not eliminated him because the car park he was seen is frequented by the local gay fraternity. If he is gay, we can treat that information in confidence. We just want him to contact us. We can eliminate him forensically, but we need to get him out of the inquiry.
Yes, Smith, thank you very much. And the important thing is, of course, This could happen again. We don't want it to. Call us if there's anything that you can add, even if it's just a suspicion. And please,
I bet you whoever killed her too.
Recognize this man. Please do ring now.
Yeah.
If you prefer, you can ring Gallup, which is the Gay and Lesbian Anti-Violence Helpline on 0171 704 2040, and
I would
machine will take your information
look at
there.
the same person.
Please, as we said, don't let this happen again. Call us here in the studio or the Lancashire Police on 01772 410 410. That's Preston 410 410.
Very suspicious.
Murders tend to get solved. In fact, more often than people think. In Northern Ireland, where death through the Troubles are included, the figure is 65% solved. In England and Wales, the clear-up rate is 91%. In Scotland, it's 97%. One reason is that police never give up with murders. We're going back now to a shocking killing that provoked a national outcry. It was the murder of a schoolgirl as she walked her next-door neighbour's dog near Exeter in Devon. And because of all the publicity, you might well remember her name, Kate Bushell.
I just can't put it into words to describe the loss. It's been such a big loss. I wouldn't like the person that struck Kate to actually cause another mother, another family the pain, the suffering that we've gone through.
In our Crime Watch reconstruction, we showed how Kate had spent the morning going shopping. It was Saturday, last November the 15th.
Tell me, what did you get?
CD. Oh, Lighthouse family.
Who?
She could be a very adult life at times. She could also be a very frustrating teenager to me, not to anyone else. She was a fun-loving child. Good company. Our hope was what she wanted, which was to go to Oxford. Kate had decided that's where she was going, and she'd gone to the high school prepared to work hard to get to the top groups, to get the top grades, to go to Oxford. I went up at 4:30 to tell her she ought to go and walk the dog, and she just put her pen down and went.
A father out walking with his children saw Kate on Exwick Lane, and the last people known to have seen her alive were driving along the lane towards Exeter.
Well, actually, when we turn on the lane, it goes little bend. And we saw the dog, so my mum slowed right down. She looked quite confident. And then we drove on, and on the right side was a van. And there's a chap stood by the van, and he had his back to us. I thought, wait a minute, what is he doing there?
Was that you in your van last November? If so, anything you recall might be crucial. It was 100 yards from where Kate was killed.
I went up to the lane in July, just before the funeral. Just looking down from the lane, I don't want to go down to the field, to the actual spot yet. And I then ended up taking a lot of the family up. That come down to the funeral, they actually wanted to go and see the spot.
The inquiry still hasn't managed to trace a vagrant who was seen in Exwick Lane several times in the days before the murder. And there's a new appeal, something that was seen on the weekend that Kate died.
I'd slept in the morning. I got up around 10:30. Opened the curtains up, like 11ish, something like that. Just glanced out and saw it then. Only 2 to 3 man tent at the most. It was orange or red. It was a very bright colour. My initial thoughts were it was just kids had been camping out overnight and thought no more of it.
Who was camping outside Exeter in mid-November last year? Again, whoever it was is critical to this inquiry. They almost overlooked the murder site.
It can be silly things that will. They can set me off. I remember being on the train coming down and seeing my mum, and And there was this young mother with 2 young children who got off the train and was obviously greeted by her parents, and that just reduced me to tears. I thought, I'm never going to see that. I'm never going to have it with my own.
Mike Stevens, you still think it is a local man, the killer, yeah?
I've always 90% certain local man, yes, or someone who knows that area.
That means that there are going to be people in the Exeter district who must have at least vague suspicions. Now, how do they turn those vague suspicions into more solid ones?
Well, there's certain things we may well know about the individual concerned. That he may well be right-handed.
How do you know that?
From the killing itself, the method of killing. That again, local to the area, knows the area. He may have owned or does own a blue vehicle. May have worked in slaughtering animals, in particular sheep.
These are all the things you think quite probable. Let's come back to that blue vehicle in a moment, that blue van. What else? What other clues, what other possibilities are there? You've had a profile done.
Well, from the profile, we look at the statistics and see what are the best options as far as that's concerned. Certainly males 18 to 35, an area we concentrate on, may well have a previous convictions for sex or violence, or anything of a minor nature leading up to those offences. A loner with few friends, may be cruel to animals or had been cruel to animals in the past. Has some pornography, may well keep pornography. And may have difficulty with relationships and difficulty with sexual relationships as well.
Now, you're not saying all these things are true. What you're saying is, if you live in the area and you have any vague suspicion somebody could put, what, 3, 4 or 5 of these together?
Well, any of those combinations may well lead us to an individual who we may be interested in.
Now, you mentioned the blue vehicle, and obviously you've been appealing for that now for, what, 10, 11 months, and still that hasn't, the owner of that hasn't come forward.
That's
It's
right.
still possible it's someone who is entirely innocent of this, hasn't seen the appeals, was there in Exwick Lane in mid-November.
The driver of that vehicle, the person at the back of that vehicle, was very close to where Kate went missing. That person hasn't come forward. Now, we are concerned that someone may be shielding that individual or protecting that individual in some way. Whether that individual had anything to do with the murder, we don't know. But we obviously need that person to come forward, and we need information about that individual.
Okay, supposing somebody is shielding some information, or just can't bring herself or himself to believe that it could be the person they vaguely suspect, what do you say to them?
We are dealing with a horrendous killing. We cannot afford another killing of this nature, and therefore we need that individual, however close they are to that person, to come forward with that vital piece of information.
Well, this murder will be solved in time, but you could take some of the agony out of the process by acting please tonight. You can make sure an arrest happens before the killer commits another offence. 0500 600 600, that's the free call number here to the studio, and the murder inquiry room is on 01392 451 659. That's Exeter, 451 659.
Well, Crime Watch 2 weeks ago produced a flurry of police activity. On the South London bus stabbing, a man has been charged with the murder of Herbie Williams. Over 400 people rang in with information, and the police have asked us to pass on their thanks to everyone who called. There are strong leads as well on several other cases. More details of those in the next Crime Watch in 2 weeks' time. But let's just take a quick look back to Crime Watch Still Unsolved from last year. As a direct result, a man was arrested that night. He's been convicted of 2 charges of theft and 1 of obtaining property by deception. Police say he wouldn't have been caught without callers still unsolved.
You may well recall the tragic murders of Peter and Gwenda Dixon, who were walking on a cliff-top path near their holiday campsite in Pembrokeshire. The senior detective on the case says the response to the appeal was quite fantastic, with nearly 500 calls. As a result, police are pursuing active lines of inquiry, and there are still several names not eliminated.
And we had 200 calls about an armed robbery in Doncaster 6 years ago, in which one of the guards was seriously injured. Detectives say new information from Still Unsolved made them focus on a team of criminal individuals they hadn't previously considered, and that inquiry goes on.
Now, a new reconstruction and a new crime on which we've not appealed before, but there is a reason for showing it in Crime Watch Still Unsolved, as you'll see as it developed. It happened 4 months ago in West Sussex, in the seaside town of Shoreham.
I was driving home from work when I noticed a white Mercedes van with a man in a balaclava driving it. It was a hot day, so I thought it was a bit strange, and sort of thought to myself, you know, what a prat. Went back about an hour later to pick my son up from school.
Oops. Sorry, y'all. I didn't realize it went past.
Away. So I didn't think any more of it until I
So what you think about that, Miss Hilton? I told you that one was going to get you. I know you got 101 burning questions in that head of yours. So I'm going to let you do this. So come on up, Miss Hilton. And then you can ask Maisie all you want because she's pretty familiar with this case. Maisie, you want to come up? You can come up too. Y'all are going to come up? You have to wait for your hubs to come up. Oh, I know that.
Hello?
Hello, gorgeous.
Hello?
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello? Can you hear me, Dippy?
Yes, ma'am.
Good.
It's not loud.
No, I think she turned it down a little bit now because it's getting late. Just told her to turn it down. Hey, how is everybody?
Did you talk to your sister yet?
No, not yet, not yet. Not yet. Just not long had dinner and stuff. Just on here, love, with you lot. Yeah, I'm quite familiar with that case, Kate Bushell. So sad.
A little too personal. Wouldn't you
Pardon?
say, me? I said, yeah, just a little too personal.
What's that?
That case for you is a little too personal.
Yeah. Yeah, I need to get in touch with someone about it.
I don't know who you could get in touch with either.
Her brother?
Yeah, but he might not believe a word you're saying.
Well, I can only tell him. And, what he does with it, I don't know. That's why I was saying to you,
Yeah, you gotta figure out how you would say it first off.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Yep. Yeah, because when my daughter was 15, her and a friend went to the shop, and on the way back there was this guy following them in a blue car. He had shoulder length, just above his shoulder length, dark hair, and he kept moving his face when he kept driving one way and then driving back. He was always hiding his face. And then my daughter turned around to her friend because my daughter saw this bloke in this alleyway, and it looked like he was pouring. She said he had something in one hand and he was shaking his other hand like he was pouring something onto something. So then, because he'd parked his car up and gone in this alleyway, and they both took the shoes off and ran, and they come into the house screaming, But it was that guy who was following them in the car. But that's why I reported it to the police. Well, I phoned the Crime Stoppers, actually. I didn't phone the police, phoned Crime Stoppers and told them about it, but I didn't hear anything.
That's probably why you didn't hear anything, because you didn't call your local police department.
Yeah.
Because I was like, when you told me that you didn't hear anything back from him, I'm like, that's weird. But I didn't realize you had said Crime Stoppers.
Yeah, and my daughter also, she's got long blonde hair, just like Kate Bushell, and she was 15 at the time. This was about, I'd say about a year and a half after that happened to Kate. Yeah.
Wow.
And they've never caught him. Yeah, they've not caught him yet.
That's crazy. They probably just, so many people have had encounters with them, and they're all, some people isn't the same as the first one. So they got to try to, if everybody's coming up with different things, they don't know which one to go look for.
Of course.
They just got to eeny, meeny, miny, moe it. Because everybody has a difference of opinion on what he looked like.
Yeah, because there was a couple of vehicles on Exwick Lane that day, so they just don't really know which one.
Exactly.
And they said while this was happening around at the same time, someone was running down a hill into the estate where Kate lived. That's why they were saying they don't know who that was running down. So that could be a different person. Or it could be the bloke from the car or the van, just don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, poor dad found her, And what happened is someone, whoever it was, came from behind Kate and then put a knife in the side of her neck and just, and then lay her on the floor, pulled her jogging pants halfway down. There was no signs of sexual abuse. I don't think that's what they said, but and then her hair, long blonde hair, was was spread out like that on the floor, like
they staged it.
Yes.
And they well did too, because that way it threw them off. Like, okay, well, why did they do this if they didn't have intentions of doing any kind of essay to her?
And then I don't know how many years after, but there was another lady killed in a park down in Cornwall, and they think it's the same guy. They've got strong beliefs it's the same guy who did it to her as well. But she was an older lady. She was probably, I think, 30s or something.
Yeah.
But still, they think it's the same guy. But I do
Yeah.
believe he's local. I get a feeling he's probably, because
And
not a
he's
lot of
probably
people.
a homeless guy.
I don't
And
know.
that's why he's
Maybe.
under the radar, because he doesn't have an address.
Yeah. But this guy who stood by the blue van, that lady said he had his head turned, when they were driving past. But he's never come forward.
Oh, he's not going to come forward.
No. And the
He's
bloke
not
running down the hill. He's never
not
come
going to
forward.
go to jail.
No.
They're gonna have to locate this man.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Give her family peace. Give her and a family peace.
I was gonna say something real quick off subject. When you get the diamond art, order you a light pad.
Pardon?
You order you a light pad.
Light pad?
Yes, for the diamond art, because it'll light up the picture to where you can see the things better. The numbers or pictures or whatever.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, I'm going to get myself one tomorrow. Yeah. Hey.
And if you need help, just let me know and I'll help you.
Thank you. I will. So, what's everyone doing this evening? Oh, it's not evening there, is it?
Yeah, it is. It's 5 o'clock.
All right. Right.
I am doing some diamond art as we talk, actually.
Oh, nice. What are you doing, Dippy?
I'm still doing the one of me and my sister.
Oh, nice. Lovely.
Her son's going to come over this Sunday, so I would kind of like to have it almost finished, or if not finished, by the time he comes.
Yeah.
Because he's like, I don't need him being like, oh, you're slow, Aunt Heather. Da-da. Yeah, I'm not trying to hear him talk crap to me.
Excuse me.
And he takes right after her, so there'll be a lot of crap talking.
Oh, bless him.
He's too funny. He's too much like his mother.
Hey.
Okay. I pretty much got them separated now, which ones I need and which ones I don't. Until I mix them up again. See, this is what I'm about for you to get.
Have to look proper.
And you can make it lighter.
Oh, yeah.
Darker.
Actually, I don't need one of them because I've got something similar. What I got off the RNIB. What I got off the RNIB, yeah. It's a special light. Well, that's cool.
And make sure when you're ordering the diamond art, you get at least a 30 by 30.
Right. 30
because if you go under 30 and say you get a picture like I have, it won't come out right.
Right.
All right, you got to go back to your original page and mute it.
Pardon?
Go back to the original YouTube page and mute it.
What do you mean?
You know how are you on your phone or your
My phone.
Okay, never mind.
That's all I've got.
Oh, no, yeah, go back to YouTube and mute it, or I mean, close it out, or pause it so you don't hear because I'm hearing your echo because you have it on both places.
Right, 1 minute.
When are you coming up, woman? All right, so I need 963. Need one of those. I had another thing that there was only one of. 415. All right. Hey, where'd you go? I didn't say leave. You got confused, Maisie. Where'd she go? Because I told you to close out YouTube and you leave your Gmail up and you closed out on both. You're fine. Would y'all rather go on the phone and talk? Well, if you'd rather go to the phone, we can go on the phone. I've been on for 2 hours and 30 minutes easy. I mean, 2 hours and 30 minutes already. I read what you wrote. Hilton. All right, I'm gonna go to Discord. Go on over there. Discord. All right, love you guys.